Blackcard Steve-O checking in. This is the In the Mix and Out the Way podcast. You know, I'm excited about this podcast. I got two of the homies with me. Trakksounds.
What's going on?
What's going on? Firebugg, what's going on?
Signing with it, Ingles.
You already know what time it is, man. Man, Trakksounds is somebody that's instrumental to the Houston market as far as production. You know what I'm saying? Everything that he has done has kind of been phenomenal. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
You know, what's up, Chris? C-Rob in the building?
Man, Midwestern, you know.
Yeah. You already know it, man. Trakksounds is like, you've heard his name. He's been top producer on what was that website when you first started coming out? You used to put the beats on the website.
Ooh, I remember that website with Beehive.
Not SoundCloud. No.
SoundClick?
SoundClick. Yeah. Top producer on SoundClick. He had to outgrow that. You know what I'm saying?
Me and Johnny Giuliano.
Him and Johnny Giuliano. You know what I'm saying? So Trakksounds, man. You work out of iMix Houston. You know what I'm saying? Super facts. So let's get into your story. You know what I'm saying? Where you come from, how long you've been doing it, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like who you work with. You know what I'm saying? I know you just got off a couple tours. You're a traveling man. So
a little bit.
Tell the people about yourself.
I've been making music since I was about 13 or 14. I grew up in a kind of a smaller town called Angleton, which is like 45 minutes from Houston. And so we didn't really have much to do but try to stay out of trouble and try to find ways to, get our time occupied. So a lot of my friends used to try to rap or something like that. And I was just kind of always fascinated by like the backstory of making the music that kind of comes under it. And yeah, I just kept working at it, kept making beats. A lot of them were, pretty bad. And then eventually I got a couple that I was like, oh, these are okay. And started getting some people working with me and, obviously fast forward like 15 years and I've worked with 2 Chainz, Wiz Khalifa, A$AP Rocky, Kendrick Lamar, Devin the Dude, Slim Thug, everybody in Houston pretty much, Starlito, Maxo Cream, all types of Nipsey Hussle, a lot of people. So I've definitely been blessed to be around a lot of very talented people.
So out of all of those people that you just named, who was the most interesting person to work with?
Interesting, you mean like interest in personality or actually, interest in musically?
Personality in the studio.
Personality, Kevin Gates, without a doubt.
Kevin Gates. Can you say something without giving his secrets?
Well, no, I'll just say honestly, he's the only person that I've ever like. We worked till like 6 or 7 in the morning. We did a song called Ring, and that's out. You
recorded Ring?
I did the beat and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
okay. He was the only one that's ever blessed the session before we left. Like he made everybody bow their heads, hold hands, and like we all blessed the session before we left. And he just talking to him in general, introspective. Like his mind is like he is so smart. It's crazy. You can tell like this dude is very educated. He's read a lot of books. He knows what he's talking about. So he was definitely the most interesting personality wise. Musically, it was Kendrick. Like he would did like 40 or 50 layers on like hooks and stuff like that. No lie. And it was just like crazy to watch his process.
40 or
all those weird
layers? Voices
that you hear he does those. Like right. Those aren't effects. That's him.
Right. Ali was in town.
Ali sat on my shoulder, over my shoulder, and did all the engineering for it, and like told me what. This is when I was like 19, like 20 or something like that actually. And he was like telling me what to do, and I was just like, okay, cool, because we didn't have Pro Tools on our computer.
Right.
I knew how to work Logic, and he didn't know how to work it, and so he was just showing me stuff, and I learned more in those like 2-3 hours working with them than I've learned in years of being in other places or studying other people and stuff.
Shout out to Ali. I actually just met Ali last week. He came out and did a workshop. You know what I'm saying, at Avant Media. So shout out to Ali. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, legend.
Your story is one that is very, very interesting. What point do you think you got your first, like, when you realized, like, oh, I could do this for a living? What point was that in your career?
It's kind of funny. I'd say, I always thought I was going to be like a big producer and stuff like that. I don't know. It was just kind of my mindset.
You was confident?
Yeah, I was always confident, but it was funny because nobody, even in high school, people thought I was crazy for doing music. They thought I was the dumbest dude ever because I was good at basketball too. I played college basketball, and people were like, oh, like, why are you even worried about the music? Like, you can just keep playing basketball, But I saw bigger things, and I also know how things go in life with, basketball and stuff like that. And people would think I was crazy for dedicating my time. And then I was like 19, I got a placement with the St.Lunatics.
Oh wow! Hey, that's Midwest, dog.
I was close to me, bro. I was on their album. They took. What's crazy is that I was 18 actually. I didn't know anything about it. They took my name. I did ghost production for it because they took all my credits off and put theirs on it. And they were like, "It's okay, like we'll get you some such and such, and like you'll get a lot of pub off this, and we'll get you to meet Nelly." And I flew down there and met him and stuff, but I didn't get any credit for it. But at that time,
what record was that?
Yeah, you gotta let me know what song that was. Because I got that album.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to look it up, and I'll remember it was whatever one Basement Beats did on there. So I like Basement Beats. Like, shout out to them. They still gave me some opportunities. So definitely know.
So when you got that call from the St.Lunatics, you was like, okay, man. So I
quit basketball. I'd already quit basketball. While I was in the process of quitting, and I quit, and I started doing music full time. I came back to Houston.
So that was the point where you was like, I'm gonna really go in.
Yeah, people thought I was fucking nuts too, man. And it's hilarious.
I think everybody that does music comes to that point where everybody's kind of like looking at them crazy, like this is really what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, they look at the odds and they look at
especially from a small town,
the struggling artist, the struggling producer, and they be like, "You're crazy for even wanting to do that." I know, Chris, how you feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Coming from where you come from and wanting to do music, like I know you said your parents was like, "What are you doing?" You know what I'm saying?
That's true. But first, I want to say, Track, I did not know you produced for the St.Lunatics.
Not many people know, bro. I'm gonna keep it real. Bro. I've done so many records that nobody's even known about. I had a Cameron single out for 3 years, and I didn't even know it.
Those are Midwest legends, bro. Do you understand?
Yeah. I flew down to St. Louis and met
Air Force Ones.
I was at Nelly's mom's house, like kicking it, eating dinner one day, smoking with Murphy Lee, like chilling. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna quit basketball, and I'm about to do this music shit."
Right. Legend. You ain't gotta say nothing else. Legend. Hey, but no, what I would think about that. You
said Cameron.
Hey, Cameron too. But
that one caught me. I found that out, and I was mind blown.
Nelly and the St.Lunatics.
Yeah.
That's a whole different level, though.
So,
but no, what get back to what you were saying about the small town thing is like that. I already know how that is coming from Indianapolis. Like, Angleton is a little smaller than Indianapolis, but I already know that was a lot of. And you was going to Dartmouth. That's the part he left out. That's an Ivy League college. That's not just any college. Dartmouth, Ivy League.
Like, I was smart, and I wasn't, because I played basketball, it was a little easier to get into a school like that. But it was one of those things that was like, man, what am I going to do with this?
Dartmouth, like on
Super bad. That's what everybody was asking me.
Golly,
but
Trakksounds. I never knew that.
Fun fact. but that isn't what I wanted though. So it was like, I know, like when I look back in 20, 30 years, am I going to be happy that I got a cool degree or whatever you want to say about it, or am I going to be glad that I did my thing?
Speaking of degrees, you do have a degree.
I did.
Talk about your degree.
My degree is actually from University of Houston. It has nothing to do with music.
Cougs.
It's go Cougs, absolutely. It's hotel and restaurant management. And people always think it's. I was bartending. I was doing whatever I could to make ends meet when I came back. Right. Because I was getting records placed and small things like that, but the money doesn't come in fast, especially when you don't know how this business works. I had to get people to teach me how I can get my money in this and things like that. And once I learned that, the money definitely came in way more. But these first few years, I didn't know all that. I was just making beats and just happy to be in the studio working with these people.
And that's a good segue. Like, how do you, as a producer, like if I'm a producer listening to this right now, Track, you just told me you work with St.Lunatics, Cameron, all these people. How do I make sure I get the money that I'm owed?
And so I never saw any money from any of those records until so the reason I know about all this stuff is because people taught me, and it's because I network and I know people, and because I work with other people. My friend Chinky P, who's a producer I work with a lot.
Chinky, shout out Chinky.
Absolutely. We did actually a Devin record when we were on one of Devin's albums. We did like 3 or 4 beats on there. And he hit me up, and he was like, he did a bunch of T.I. records, GCs, and a whole bunch of stuff on one of his projects.
Right.
And he called me. He's like, hey, I have some guys that go by Music Admin Publishing. His name's Nick Velo. And they basically help producers get paid off. It's called an admin company. They help producers get paid off of things that they haven't been paid for. They're, you know, it's kind of I think it's a group of lawyers that got together, used to work in labels, and now they're helping producers and songwriters and stuff. So I got linked with them, and
that's an admin deal, right?
Yes, it's called an admin deal. And so they've taught me a lot about how to go do it, and they go get a lot of my money. But basically the one main thing they told me is that producers have money sitting at labels and things like that, and they don't even know about it because these labels aren't going to pay it out to a producer. They're supposed to pay it out, but they're not going to do it unless you come claim it. And as a little producer, you're trying to call labels and, hey, like I did this record, and they're like, okay, hang up on you. But if you have like Nick and them who are lawyers and people that know what they're doing, like they're gonna return their calls and get these checks and blah 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 like that. So kind of what I was getting to is I learned a lot of it from different people. That's how I learned how to get paid. I could go on for hours of how to get paid, but it's like you need to be able to have a network that is going to help you see these type of things and be able to branch you off into these avenues. If I wouldn't have been working with other producers and just, you know, kind of clammed up in my own hole, so, I would never learn in this.
Right. So it's so much different approaching a label yourself than with an actual lawyer. You know what I'm saying? You get two different types of responses. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't want to build their team up, but you have to build your team up, and you have to have the entertainment lawyer on your team because the entertainment lawyer is going to get a different type of respect than you're going to get just as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of Track's degree, I spoke to Track one time, and he told me some of the smartest stuff that I've ever heard in my life. You know what I'm saying?
That's a big compliment.
He told me that his degree was in hospitality, and he was like, I'm already doing music, so I didn't want to get a degree in music because I'm already doing it.
I'm living it, yeah.
And I was like, wow, I didn't think about that. Because when I went to school, I got my degree in music, and I was already doing music. You know what I'm saying? So I rethought my whole school career, and I was like, man, I should have went to school for something else because I was already doing music. You know what I'm saying? So I always encourage school. If you don't know how to engineer, if you don't know music business, go to school. You know what I'm saying? But if you're already doing it, go to school for something else. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I remember, a conversation that me and you had that always stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? So even right now, I'm thinking about going back to school for something totally different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You learn all types of stuff, like business, how to do, you know, profit and loss and all types of things like that. That you
taxes, you know how to do your taxes.
You wouldn't think applied to
Trakksounds
music, but this is the music business. I have to pay my taxes. I do my own spreadsheets, profit losses, all that.
If I could share this, Trakksounds is the first person in the music industry that told me that he pays his taxes quarterly. Quarterly. You know what I'm saying?
I'm laughing because that's the truth.
You know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, I pay quarterly. I was like, God damn, Track really got his shit together. You know what I'm saying? So
you got to, man. Otherwise, how you know, you can't show this income without doing something like that. And then, you know, if you don't have that type of income coming in, then you're not gonna be able to get houses, cars, all that type of stuff. You're gonna be a struggling musician. Right. And if you get your business set up and figure out where you're doing expenses, what's working well for you, you're gonna be able to maximize this like a business, like how Amazon and all these people do it.
Right.
Piggybacking off of what you just said, like what makes a good producer? Like I know you know what I'm saying, meet a lot of up and coming producers. You used to throw those classes. I forget what they were called. What were your classes
called? It was a production camp. It was a
music production camp. Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna bring those back, but I like that. That was a good deal.
I've been gone so much, it's hard to like find. Every time I would schedule it, we'd have a show or something like that, and then we'd have to leave for it. And so
what makes a good producer? Like the young producers listening, what makes a good producer? How do I know I'm supposed to keep doing this?
And for me to piggyback off of that, I know you work with a lot of producers. You do a lot of collaborations and stuff like that. So what do you look for when collaborating with another producer, since you are a producer and can do everything yourself?
I definitely look for producers that like, you know, everybody's gonna say like think outside the box and are creative, but that's definitely true. Like if I want to, even if you're not like technically, there's a couple technical things that you're off on, I just want to hear like your ideas are like actually different than what's just the standard typical beat. Like because I do a lot of recording sessions and stuff too, so I hear a lot of production that people go over, and a lot of it sounds the exact same.
Right.
To me, which, you know, is a sign of the times. But when you can do something that I'm like, oh, that's actually creative, or you add some kind of element that I'm not used to hearing, that's one of the first things I'm looking for with collabing. and that also makes a good producer. But I mean, the main thing about producer is you gotta be patient, and you gotta see like the full vision of what's going on, because making microwavable music isn't gonna help you. Like, you need stuff that's gonna stand the test of time.
Say that again.
And yeah, microwavable music, that's what too many people make. They think they can come in and do like 4 tracks in a couple hours, and
longevity. Longevity is the key.
There's a lot of time into it. Yeah, nothing.
Love and cook.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly. Nothing good is gonna come easy with this. If this was easy, everybody would be a musician or a rapper or artist.
But honestly, that's what people think. People think the music industry is easy. They think they could just come to the studio and just say some things, and then they're automatically gonna blow up.
Everybody can't be Lil Nas X.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
But even him, he's next level marketing genius, dude. He's been pushing that for months on like TikTok and all these. Like, he's a next level marketing genius.
Next level, you got to be into marketing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the myth of people thinking that they're gonna come to the studio, make a song, and it's automatically gonna blow up. Because a lot of people think they're gonna blow up on their first song.
Yeah, no, that
How many first songs have you recorded that were hits? How many quote unquote hits have you recorded?
Their first song, never, ever in a million years. I mean, I always just preach to people. This is, it's crazy because I always, one of my favorite sayings ever was, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And because people would think that 6 months goes by and they were supposed to have this happen and all this, and I'm like, a lot of the biggest people I've worked with, I've seen, even like if we take like Maxo Cream, for example, like I've been working with Maxo since I first came back to Houston. That's like 9 years ago.
Right.
And he's just, in the past few years really gotten to that level where, he's taking tours and stuff like that. But people didn't see those 4 to 5 years he was, putting in work, learning his flow, learning his rhythm, couldn't figure out how to get videos, getting shafted on, like, all those things happen to, and I can name so many countless artists that same exact story is there, but you don't see those like first few years that no one even knows that they're working that hard, and that's kind of part of it.
I think every artist feels like when they first start off and they're putting in their work that people don't see them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they feel like kind of like invisible. You know what I'm saying? Invincible. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at that point, what kind of advice would you give to an artist that's in his second year that hasn't blown up yet? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I get, I try to I don't want to sound like giving the generic answers, but you really got to go learn like marketing, and then learn marketing to a next level. Like, you may think you know marketing,
right,
but you don't know marketing. Like,
marketing is so important, because even if you have a bad song, if you have a great marketing, you can make it happen. I guarantee.
Because music is the most subjective thing probably in the world, because it's one of those things that somebody could absolutely hate someone's song, but there's 3 or 4 million people that think it's the greatest song ever. Right. And so it's one of those things is you need to figure out. A lot of people, even if it's not necessarily, if your song doesn't do well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad song. It could be if you haven't been putting enough work and years in practice and things like that. But it most likely is you didn't market it to the right people, or get it to market it to the right area, or have the budget for it, or whatever. Right. So that's where a lot of good songs fail, besides, bad mixing quality too.
For sure. So
mixing quality is definitely a
get your songs mixed and mastered, man. Don't come to the studio and just record a song for 2 hours and you think it's the end.
I've seen it happen all the time.
Pay for the mix, pay for the master. It's a whole different result. I promise you.
Different result.
So, C-Rob, real quick, I want to go back to the beginning. I want to go to, let's talk about how me and Trakksounds met.
Man, how was that?
Amazing. Steve-O's the man. I ain't gonna lie. Steve-O, if there's one dude that I've definitely said a lot of times, it's like him, GT Garza, and Killa Callion. Those 3 definitely like put me in a lot of places, like different ways, and helped me, looked out for me in a lot of time. But crazy is I met Killa because of Steve-O, met Devin because it's all these people I probably met because of Steve-O. So even in the end, it like kind of comes back to him, because I don't remember how. I met you because of Killa. Actually, I'm lying, right?
No, so I know the first thing I ever seen of Trakksounds is we used to do something with Marcus Manchild, with Manchild Mondays, right? Marcus used to come to the studio and go live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one day my brother was at the studio and I was at the studio, And my brother said, man, who is Trakksounds? He just followed me. I said, I don't know who Trakksounds is. So I don't know if Track went and followed everybody that was on the live or what. You know
Fun fact, me and Marcus used to play basketball when we were like 13 or 14 together all the time. So Marcus is my boy too.
So that was the first time that I heard Trakksounds' name. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, the next time I heard his name, he contacted me to mix a song for him. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it was. Yeah, I knew that. Well, I just couldn't remember. I know because I know you linked me with Devin as well. And that's how I met Devin. But yeah, my first song was called Houston Smokers Only, and
Classics.
Nobody was really. I didn't have any placements besides like the St.Lunatics. I had a couple other small things, but in Houston, no one knew me at all. And so I was with my boy one day. I was like, man, I need to figure out something to like.
Get into that market, right?
Yeah, to get people to know my name. And so I randomly started making a beat. I had this idea of like putting this song together with all the dope smokers in Houston. And I made a beat, and then I contacted B-Don and G-Luck, and they had no idea who I was, but they still were like, oh yeah, we like the beat, we want to work on it. I told them the idea, which to this day, I still think is one of the coolest things ever. That's why I respect them like crazy.
They still play that song in strip clubs.
Oh yeah, I've walked in like shows and stuff, and people have been playing it. But yeah, anyways, I put it together, and then somebody, I think Killer Callion, told me, he's like, you should go check out Steve-O about mixing. I linked up with Steve-O, and he was, I don't, for some reason, you were at the club that night or something? Why were you there?
I think I had to, I don't know why I was at the club that night. I think I had to do I don't know what it was.
Were you judging like a contest or something?
It was probably some kind of contest.
Something like that, right? Anyways,
so
I drove all the way to the north side. I'm from the south part.
And I'm from the north.
I drove all the way up there with one deep by myself with my hard drive, money in my pocket, ready for the song to get mixed. I walk in the club. I didn't even know what he looked like.
He met me at the bar.
Didn't even know what he looked like. I'm walking around, just, random ass little 18-year-old white dude.
He texted me. He's like, yo, I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
Looking for him. I got hard drive in my hand and stuff. And then sure enough, yeah, it's like he's the reason. I'm obviously working in iMix now too, because worked in a couple different studios and had a couple situations, and called Steve-O one day, was like, hey, y'all got a spot? And 6 years later, we're still rocking.
Honestly, there wouldn't be anybody else that I'd be honored to work with at the studio, you know what I'm saying, to have a room at the studio other than Trakksounds, you know what I'm saying?
There we go.
His work ethic is impeccable, you know what I'm saying? His network is good, and he's a man of his word. If he said he's going to do something, he is going to do something, you know what I'm saying? And even his ear, I respect, you know what I'm saying? And I know that's mutual, because even recently, Track sent me some records. He was like, man, I want to know what you think about these records. You know what I'm saying? Help me pick which records I could send to this artist. You know what
I had
I'm
a placement opportunity, and I was like, man, I need to figure out, I make so many beats. I was like, I need to figure out somebody I can bounce ideas off of picking these direct. Because I know I have a few people that I know I trust their ear, and no matter what, they're going to tell me, like, nah, that's not it, or yeah, they're going to tell me what I need to hear.
Right.
And sure enough, even today, we were just talking about before we did the podcast, who, the person we're talking about, she just hit me back and was saying she liked some of the records and wanted to send more and stuff like that too. So, and it was,
I'm not expecting nothing else but big things from that. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
You got anything to ask, C-Rob?
Yeah. So kind of going back to what you said about like your creative process and things like that. Like how are you doing that? Like what is your creative process? Like what is that?
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
I smoke hella weed, that's for sure. Yeah, but honestly, I get inspiration from a lot of people. People think like getting inspiration from other places is like not
Wrong.
the move, but yeah, I'm like, I get inspiration from a lot of people. Timberland's my favorite producer ever, so like just hearing his beats and stuff like that are like, I don't know. There's just so many. Next level. It's not even funny. Absolutely. Like,
what other producers do you look up to?
It's my top producers ever are Timberland #1, Just Blaze #2, and then that third spot is always kind of up for debate. And you could throw like early Kanye. Even like Kanye has a lot of records just in production. Just speaking on production wise. Like some of his production is like absolutely next level thinking, but I like Alchemist's old beats. I really used to like the sampled stuff. So like old sample producers, that's like kind of like what I grew up with.
When I first met Trakk, that's all he was doing. Like I knew I could go to Trakk for a dope ass sample.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I taught myself the keys after that because I was like, all right, samples. I missed a Chameleonaire album because of samples.
Man,
and it was whatever the second one was. I can't think of it. But the second one I didn't make it because of a sample. And then I was like, all right, I need to. And then even like a Devin album, we had a problem. They were saying we sampled a Diana Ross record, and we didn't.
I remember that.
You remember that?
I think I set that up. Well, what record was that? Was that with Sean or that was?
Sean.
Yeah.
And they were trying to say me and Albie, my friend Albie Dixon, who's a very good keyboard player, had sampled this. And it was like, we did not. But we ended up having to replay all this stuff. And I just remember thinking, like, it's such a headache. So I started kind of teaching myself the keys. And I can get down a little bit now.
It ain't nothing like not having to split the money, right?
Oh, it's amazing. It's so much better. And you're sending it off, and you're like, yep, ain't going to be no problems with this one. So that's definitely some advice I would give.
For sure. Man, it's a question that I want to ask you that'll help upcoming producers, man. The question is, what do you do when you send emails out to artists and they don't respond? Like how do you handle that? How do you handle that emotion?
I mean, that's gonna happen a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't take anything personal. That's for sure. You're gonna hear a lot of no's. You're gonna hear a lot of times that even we're talking about the person we were talking about earlier that I've been sending records in, and Steve-O was giving me advice on what to send. I sent her records first. Didn't hear nothing back. And now, since I've been doing this so long, I've learned, I'm like, it's not I guarantee you she didn't listen to him. It was the fact that, or I guarantee you she didn't like listen to him, like, oh, they're not good. She just never had a chance to listen to him and probably forgot. Because these are people that probably get 1 million messages a day, 1 million texts.
Beats.
Like, 1 million beats. They can get beats from anybody. They can call Timberland and get beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, little old me trying to send them beats is nothing. So I followed up actually today, and that's when she came back like, oh yeah, I just checked them, like like followed me back and all that type of stuff like that. But it's just because I followed up, and I've learned some of my biggest placements have come from me following up and being like, hey, did you check those? Oh no, not yet. Let me go look. Or oh no, resend them. Happens all the time. People, like, if you're talking to anybody that's important, you're not the only one talking to them.
How big is the follow up, like for people trying to get into this music business?
Huge. You don't honestly. I've took a lot of negotiation classes and all types of things for different businesses and stuff like that. And the one thing about it is they've said is you keep following up until you hear no, basically. And then when you hear no, you can probably try to figure out a new angle to maybe get that yes from it. But if you don't hear back, like, you've got to assume that they haven't either taken the time to, check it out, or you just need to be that driving force to it. And there's nothing personal about this. This is all business and
so all matters. The producers out there, make sure you follow up. Because even with me, with engineers, people that contact me, I don't know you're serious until you actually follow up. You know what I'm saying? Anybody could do an initial contact.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But that follow up
crucial
explains that you're really, really, really serious. You know what I'm saying? So that's very, very that's very important.
Now Trakk, man, we talked about all the successes, all the different things that are great about producing, right? How do you handle stuff that doesn't work?
Which happens a lot. I'll definitely say there's definitely a lot of days where you're like, man, fuck this shit. You just want to stop. But it's one of those things. If you really love music, which I mean, I've been doing music longer than I haven't in my life. So
that's a blessing.
I love music. And that's just the one thing I have to remind myself, because there's a lot of days where it's like, things don't go your way. And that's in anything you can do. Everybody in life, there's hard parts to it. And so I can understand that. But to be able to be doing it with music it's a blessing. And if you can keep that passion in you and just always remember, like, this is why you started, then it's a lot harder to take that away. But there'll be days that will test your patience, and you won't want to mess with it that day.
Have you ever came to a point where you were like, man, I'm about to quit music?
Oh, yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. All the time, like, absolutely 1 million times. So that definitely isn't. That's nothing to be. That's just natural and human. I feel like people do that in all types of things and all walks of life and everything.
Right.
And so, you just have to mentally fight through that. And there's nothing wrong with being feeling like that. Like, people think that's like like you're not strong or something like that. If you're thinking like there ain't nothing wrong with that. Like yeah, you can be upset for a little bit. Like
shake back.
Yeah, use that little energy, and then the next day come back and get them. Like it ain't nothing. You don't have to win every single day. You know, you just have to win. You know, win the week or win. You know, like you just have to keep making progress over time, incremental gains and stuff like that. Right. You're not gonna catch a W every single day. It just don't happen.
For sure. I know this is a music podcast and a music business centered podcast, but just in life in general, how important is it for people to follow their passion? You know what I'm saying? For you, how important was the passion of the music? Is it the money that makes you go, or is it the actual music?
I can make way more money doing a lot of other things. Trust me. I mean,
so it's the passion. So
absolutely.
Explain the passion part. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's just one of those things. I tell my people I work with or clients, whatever you want to say. I tell them all the time. It's like if you want to look back in 5 or 10 years, and you will be cool with not or whatever X amount of years you're gonna say. If you'll be cool with not have gone after that, then that's on you. But I know if I look back and I'm 40, 50, whatever age you want to say, and I didn't give it my all in the one thing that I know. That I love. Like people all the time will talk to me like, I just love music and I've always wanted to do it. And I'm like, do it. Like at least try. Like you only get this one life, and you're gonna look back and be like, man, I should have. And I hear it all the time, even from like older people. They meet me and they even if you're just talking to them wherever.
Yeah, what else?
Like, oh man, I love music. I should have done it too. And it was like, and that's the one thing that you always can tell. They just regret it so much. And you're not like, I don't know. Money comes, money goes. Friends come, friends go. But if you look, it's your life, and you're the one that's living it. If you look back, and you didn't give it that all, and that one thing, whatever it is, you want to be the best painter, the best, gardener. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
I got a saying that I say, man, don't use half your ass. Use your whole ass.
Use the whole thing.
Use both your cheeks.
We're working on it.
Follow your passion. I encourage everybody to follow their passion. You know what I'm saying? Because when you do that, things happen and doors open.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a difference when you do something because you quote unquote supposed to do it than when you love to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Worst thing that happens is you chase your dream.
What you love to do is what you'll do for free.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel. Like if you'll do it for free, then that's exactly what you love.
That's a great way to put it. I can definitely agree with that, because I did a lot of time where I was doing music for free, and it was still as enjoyable as it could be. So.
Right. Any last words? I know you got to say your Instagram. Any more game you want to give to people?
What's the biggest piece of advice you could give?
Just keep going.
Let's talk about your mistakes. Like any mistakes that you could help somebody else not make. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I've made so many. It's hard to like calculate them into like what
biggest mistake. What would you say was your biggest mistake in this music game?
I'd say not following up on relationships I had, honestly. Like I met a lot of people, like even when we're going back to that Kendrick story, I had contacts to quite a few of them, and like I still have contacts, and like everybody, especially when you're that popular between all of them, like emails are going to change a lot, phone numbers change a lot, and I tried to stay on top of it, but looking back, I could have stayed more on top of all types of relationships, not even just speaking on that one in general. And I definitely think if you get something, you need to nurture it, nature it, whatever the correct phrasing is. Yeah. You need to definitely go forward with that, because that's one of the few mistakes I look back and be like, man, I should have definitely stayed in more contact with X person more and just stayed with the follow up.
And I think what people forget is these artists. Say, for instance, you meet an artist that's on tour. Mm-hmm. They're in a different city every day meeting people.
They're not listening. They're not listening to beats or worrying about who they met.
So when they meet you, it might be authentic, but you have to follow up to let them know that, hey, I'm really in it. Don't ever think that, this person isn't thinking about me or whatever. Like you have to shoot your shot, but you do it respectfully and do it authentically.
Absolutely,
absolutely. That's the suggestion that I have. I've been in situations where people gave me their phone numbers and then they never answered the phone after that. You know what I'm saying? How many situations has it been that?
A lot.
You know what I'm saying? Not even returning a text message. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, it's part of it. So like I said, it's never nothing personal, and you take note of it, but then you can keep trying to with the follow up, but you just keep trying to find people that will work with you or will.
So on a side note, how many people have you started working with? I know we're a prime example of our relationship started strictly business, and now we're actually homies.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I'm
for
saying?
Sure. A lot of them, honestly.
Yeah.
And you know, that just comes with, you know, I mean, I'm a genuine person, and a lot of the people I work with, and I think a lot of people that make it far are genuine people too. They treat people with respect. You know, this people will be like, oh, rappers are divas or whatever you want to say like that. But honestly, a lot of the ones I've seen that have gone far are very respectful, very polite. They treat people with respect for the most part. And so I think that goes a long way. And so I kind of, that's the same thing I try to bring to the table. And then now I've continued to work with a lot of these people because we're also good friends outside of it. And now it's just helped the relationship grow. Besides us being able to work musically, we also can connect like on a different level. And people like hanging out with their friends and working with their friends. That's just kind of how it goes. So, you know, got to be cool.
Man, I know. Me and you have taken plenty trips to LA. You know what I'm saying? So networking is important. You know what I'm saying? When you go to these different cities, staying in contact with people not only when you touch down in their city, but when you're away.
Absolutely.
When you're at home, you know what I'm saying? Still reach out, still email them, still have these conversations. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know what opportunities will come about, right?
Absolutely.
You agree with that?
Absolutely. All the time, you know, even traveling a lot, but I have friends come in town all the time, and you know, I'll help them out, or I'll be out of town, and I'll, you know, like we'll be connected on something. They may end up having, like, they know somebody out there that runs a studio or something, and I met this guy in LA, but he knows somebody in New York, and I'm gonna
tell y'all something.
It's crazy how it happens.
Solid people don't mind linking other solid people with other solid people.
Absolutely.
So make sure you move right and you act right. Yep. You know what I'm saying? But speaking of LA, man, I got the homie Firebugg in the building. What's good, Firebugg?
What's the deal, man?
Man, a lot of people don't know who you are, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know your story, you know what I'm saying? So kind of tell people who you are, where you come from, and we'll get into the actions and activities that recently happened, you know what I'm saying, in the hip-hop community, you know what I'm saying?
Man, first of all, man, I'm Firebugg, feel me, the mayor.
Yeah.
I'm from Inglewood, California, feel me, I'm a blood.
Yeah.
Feel me, so I'm gonna put that out there, you know? So my blood just came home from doing 12 years upstate. It's been an illustrious career. It's been
right. So you was in a rap group before you went in. You was in Red Diamond Gang, right?
Yeah, Red Diamond Gang. Me and Bad Nose, my relative Bad Nose, D-Rat. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much Red Diamond. It started with. We was really in the streets, put it like that. You feel me? And the Red Diamond basically was the red came from my relative, my baby relative that passed away. You feel me? From a gunshot wound and baby B-Red.
Right.
So he passed away 2004, February, Super Bowl Sunday. And that's where the B-Red came from. And then the Diamond came from the homie Baby Diamond. You feel me? Right. That passed away, you feel me, from a gunshot, you feel me, murdered in the driveway.
Right.
But they basically in the same, you feel me? But
So
that was Baby Diamond, so it came Red Diamond.
Red Diamond Gang.
Red Diamond Gang.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
You feel me? And
it was
Bad News.
It was 4 members?
It was 3 members.
3 members. It was 3 members.
But basically, you know, it was 3 members who was the group, but basically the Red Diamond Gang was like the whole turf, Cinderella Park families, because it was both the homies that we lost, you know.
Right.
So Bad News, which was my relative, his brother is the one that passed, his baby brother. You feel me? Then Baby Diamond, his brother was Tiny Diamond. Right. So Red Diamond Gang, that's where that came from. For sure.
And from what I know in my history, I know that y'all were some of the first blood rappers that came out banging that was still active. You know what I'm saying? Like how was that in that era when most people that came out was Crips? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How was that feeling? How was that in that era?
Yeah, being from Cali, where I'm from, you gotta pay homage to where it started before us. You feel me?
Right.
You know, you had DJ Quick, you had MCA, you had, you know what I'm saying, Dub C, you know what I'm saying? You had cats that was out there, you know what I'm saying? But,
Right.
really, in our generation, it was different for us. You feel me? You had the relatives, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had Mac 10, you know, you had a lot of people that was rapping, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But as far as like rapping,
And
but still out here, you feel me, popping pistols, jumping out, you feel me?
Yeah, it was the red diamond
belts
game.
hanging down to the kneecaps, you feel me? Still out here committing, you know what I'm saying, rising the rates.
Yeah. Felonious ways.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Nah, wasn't nobody doing it.
Yeah.
You feel
So
me?
that's the red diamond
We
game.
was doing it, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and the aftermath.
When was this,
show,
like early 2000s?
early 2000s, you know?
Yeah. This
because,
before the game, this before all of that.
Yeah.
You know
Nah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
I'm trying to piece it up.
Before the
early
YGs.
2000s, and
Oh, yeah.
I had did a bid before that. Before this 12, I had did another bid.
Yeah. So you just came home from doing a 12 piece, and how long have you actually been home?
And when I came home April 6, 2018, but I wasn't actually released free to the streets. They sent me to a halfway house.
Right.
So I still had the ankle monitor being monitored and all that. So I couldn't even, it was controlled. You feel me? And from that halfway house, I violated and was sent back to prison.
Right.
So I spent the last months, 2018, I went back for 2.5 months.
And when you get out?
December 26th.
December. So you've been out since December 26th.
I've been out since December 26th.
The day after Christmas.
We was
You
in
know what I'm
LA.
saying?
We was in LA, wasn't we?
Yeah. We was actually in LA then. The day you got out, we was
Yeah, we was in
we was
LA.
finishing the tour.
Yeah, we was in LA.
They didn't even let me see Christmas. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know.
They dirty,
Oh,
goddamn.
yeah, right.
They
You
dirty.
know, it's good, though.
So fast forward 12 years, you being in the Red Diamond gang. 12 years later, you get out. You know what I'm saying? You on the streets for a couple of months. I kind of not to say too much, but I kind of want you to explain where you're from. You know what I'm saying? And the beef that goes on in the gang culture. You know what I'm saying? So we could get into the kind of like the story of what's been happening recently with the loss of Nipsey Hussle.
Well, I'm from Inglewood, and we on the north side of Inglewood. You feel me? But we right at the crosswalk of Inglewood and LA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cinderella Park is, and West Boulevard is basically the only street that separates us from basically separates me from Nip. You know, that was it. Just a crosswalk. You know, they got a liquor store. We had a laundromat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can walk in the store to get a blunt. We can walk in and wash some clothes, and it could go bad. You feel me? If you ain't paying attention, that's serious. And Hyde Park is just a block. Basically, I call it the Gaza Strip. You feel me? If you know anything about the Gaza Strip from Palestine and Israel, you know what I'm saying? Since the beginning of time, Cain and Abel, it ain't gonna stop. You feel me? We can, however,
It's gonna be at it.
it's gonna be at it. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's where, you know what I'm saying, we was from. I was from this side of the light, he's from that side of the light.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
So typically when somebody from where Firebugg is from and somebody from where Nipsey is from, when they see each other, what would happen?
It's on site.
It's on site.
It's on site. You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. Over time, you build relationships because if you really out there doing this stuff,
Right.
you running into enemies. You feel me? But at the same time, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
You feel me? Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Now, one too many smooth criminals. You feel me? So
Right.
you going to jail. So when you going to jail, especially at the age I was, you going to juvenile hall. People going to Y. You running into these same cats.
Right.
And you getting that animosity out. You feel me? You gonna lock up. Period.
Right.
If you active, and you're gonna lock up. So through all of the clashing over the time, when you steady seeing these people coming in and out the system,
Right.
but they still solid,
Right.
it's like we already built that common respect.
For sure.
So
for sure.
now, you know what I'm saying, you got this someone from juvenile hall, why now you in prison? If I'm seeing this dude 10 years later, 15 years later, and he's still accountable, you feel me, a stand-up dude, man, we did all that. We laughing now, like, man, shut up. Remember I bust your nose? Like, you feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? He right back at you like, man, you already know, you feel me?
Right.
Like,
So all of that time passes by, and the world knows now that we lost Nipsey Hussle. You know what I'm saying?
Rest in peace,
so
man.
Within Nipsey Hussle's last 24 hours, you actually came in contact with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And instead of it being on site, y'all did something different. Can you explain kind of what happened? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. First of all, Nip is a couple of years younger than me, you know, but he's from over there. You know what I'm saying? And first of all, man, rest in peace, Nip. You know what I'm saying? That's first of all, King Nip. You know what I'm saying? He gonna go down as the King of LA. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It don't matter what side of the flag you on. That's the King of LA.
Right.
Homage that. You know.
That's real.
Right.
So, with that said, our meeting was by accident. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing that was set up. It wasn't nothing that we, you know what I'm saying? Hey, let's sneak off and go holler real quick. It was none of that. It was by accident.
Right. Tell them kind of what happened. Like run them through it real quick. You know what I mean?
I woke up that morning and it was one of them. I was hungry. We wanted breakfast, so we sliding and couldn't decide what I wanted. You feel me? So ended up where I was going was basically, you know, I was going to the jungles. But right before you get to the jungles, like Slauson was like that last street going up Overhill, which is Nipsey. You know, that's him right there. It's Nipsey country. And it was like once you get past that, there's nothing, nowhere to go. You feel me? So it's like, damn, I done made it to the last street. Let me stop right here. You feel me? Man, baby, we about to stop right here and get something to eat.
Right.
So we jump out, and by chance, just parked the car, walked in, and Nip was standing right there in the doorway with his back turned. And she slid through first. She kind of looked back like, damn, that's Nipsey. Like, you feel me? But when I came, it was like, I seen you standing right there, tall, blue sweatsuit. But like I said, I just came home from doing 12 years. You feel me? So any type of ill feelings and anything from the past, that wasn't even on my mind. You feel me? I'm a grown man now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So basically, a grown man that's seeing this man that's doing so much for the community.
Right.
You feel me?
Right,
Period.
yeah.
Like, he from the block where I'm from. Period. So when I walked in, it was like, at the same time, you know, that's what I'm on.
Yeah.
Not knowing what he on. You feel me? Let's be honest. So
Right.
it's like, all right, I'm going to tap him. You feel me? That's the honorable thing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that way anything, it's like you facing me. So I tapped him instead of just brushing through him. I tapped him. Like, excuse me. You feel me? When he turned around, it was like, you feel me? When he seen me, it was kind of like, you feel me? But it was no hostility or nothing. It was like, you feel me?
Yeah.
But it was like a peaceful, but a strength though. And he spoke, and he was like, hey, excuse me. He was like, hey, man, your name Firebugg? I'm like, yeah. He was like, I'm sitting in the park. I said, yeah. He was like, hey, man, I'll be peeping you on IG. You be on some real nigga shit. And I looked, and I was like, man, for sure. He was like, nah, for real, you be on some real nigga shit. I support it. He
Right.
said, just cause he said I'll be paying attention. Just cause me and my niggas don't press the like buttons, nigga be watching. He said I support it.
Yeah.
I said, I told him, I said, man, I watched your whole rap career from a prison cell.
Right.
Feel me? From Bullets Ain't Got No Name all the way to where you at with it now.
Yeah.
I say at the mailbox money, I salute you.
Right.
Feel me? I respect everything you doing.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, for sure. You feel me? We shook hands. He said, you probably don't remember me. He said, you about to eat though? I said, yeah. He said, no, I'm gonna come holler at you. Because he was in a conversation.
Right.
So I'm gonna sit down. So probably, you know, about 5-6 minutes later, he came and he was getting ready to leave. And as a matter of fact, he had his hand on the door getting ready to leave out. And he was looking back down, you know what I'm saying, down into the restaurant. I stood up and he seen me and he just came and walked back to me. When he walked up, he just extended his hand. I extended mine. We started shaking hands. And he looked on my arm. I got a tattoo on my arm. And when he looked at it, he was like, that's Malcolm? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, Malcolm X.
Yeah. He was like, I was like, yeah. He just smiled. And he was like, bro, I've been waiting on you. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, initial conversation, it didn't mean, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like all the time. Mm-hmm. That's all I could say was all the time, you know? But he kept shaking my hand and he said, nah, bro, I've been waiting on you. Now it's kind of like, he never let my hand go, you feel me? And like I said, it was a humbleness, but it was strength.
Right.
Feel me?
Because instead of going at each other necks, y'all sat down and y'all did something more productive. You know what I'm saying? Y'all had a conversation that was. You don't have to go into details of the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't even the details of that. I'm gonna tell you what an old head told me, man, when I was young in the system, 19, 20.
Yeah.
And back and forth to the hole, pepper spray to every other. You feel me? And he said, man, you got the potential to be a leader.
Right.
He said, but man, you stay wanting to be in the field.
Right.
He said, man, you a beautiful homie, but you loyal to a fault.
Right.
That's what he told me. He said, man, you loyal to a fault. You will risk your life for everything out here.
Right.
But when your life in danger, half for everything out here gonna go back in that building.
Yeah.
And it was like, damn, you feel me?
Yeah.
But it was things that I see now, you feel me?
You look at it differently.
I
you
look
know
at
what I'm
it
saying?
differently.
So within 24 hours he passes. Quickly, like tell us like how you felt when you first got that news that he passed.
I done seen so much tragedy. I done seen so much in my life that when you hear stuff like that initially, you don't even have no emotion.
Right.
It's like, you feel me?
Yeah.
You can't show no emotion. You feel me? People be playing out here. So when I first heard it, I just seen him. You feel me? We just text back and forth. I went to the airport, and I went to the airport at about 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was leaving the airport about 3 o'clock. And I remember I pulled up on a brand Slauson. I had my relative in the car. We was going to get something to eat. And we stopped at the Wiener Schnitzels right there on Slauson.
Right.
And I'm driving, so she's on the phone. And she's looking at whatever she's looking at on the phone. And then she said, oh my God, it's just been a shooting up there at the marathon. Remember, I'm driving. I'm like, what? But it's gangland. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's gangland, so it ain't, my God, I'm not finna pull over. You feel me?
A shoot normal. Like,
you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn. You feel me? But in my mind, I'm like, dang, somebody got cracking up there. I'm reversing in the parking lot. And 2 minutes later, it's like somebody being escorted or something. You feel me? Now I'm like, huh? Then somebody hit my phone from over in the 40 somewhere. It was like, hey, man, I think somebody over there just got shot, man. Like, feel me? Nip or something. And I'm like, feel me? But like I said, I know people out here. You feel me?
Right.
So it wasn't far-fetched, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hell no. But when my relative said, oh my God, it's Nipsey, that's when I looked.
Yeah.
Everything, I promise you, everything before that was like a shooting, because it's every day. You feel me? You can't just be jumping up emotional. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it might not be what you thought it was.
But that changed it for you because you was just
I seen my relative, tears started coming out her eyes.
right.
And that's when I let go of the steering wheel and linked at her like,
Right.
you feel me?
Right. So when Nipsey tweeted that tweet, it's a blessing to have strong enemies.
I never knew about that tweet.
How did you find out about that tweet? We
After when she started crying, I said, that's right now?
yeah.
And she said, it's right now. Like somebody was going live or something, and the ambulance was still there. And I'm like, I'm about to smash down there, you feel me? So we got to smashing, but you know, they had it blocked up or whatever, you feel me? So I had to dip off through the back street, but at the same time, it's like, damn, like, you feel me? But she's crying, and I know why she's crying, because she knowing, like, all last night, you feel me? From the moment me and him hollered to the moment we was tweeting back and forth, you feel me? My Relly was there.
Right.
And she talking like really, like, you feel me? That nigga Nip a real nigga, like really, like you's a real nigga, like my Relly, she a real, you know what I'm saying? She a real female. She like, man, I'm telling you, really, like that was God. So then, boom, my emotions was in her. She was already like, you feel me? And then somebody hit me talking about, hey man, you and him took a flick. Somebody said,
Yeah. So they tried to say that you downed them.
Yeah, not that I downed him, but I never heard nothing like that. You feel me?
They tried to say that you posted something on Instagram, and somebody was saying that you was a person of interest.
It could have been a felonious, you feel me, frivolous page. Who knows? I'm not even finna get out no energy. So when I went to sleep, you feel me, woke up in the morning, I seen it. Like, what the hell? Then like I had 2 messages, people calling like, hey, you know what they saying? What they saying? When I read that, come on, man. You feel me? I'm a book. I don't have nothing to hide. You feel me? Oh, that's what they saying? Post that.
So
put it out there. Let the people, feel me? I don't have nothing to hide. Let the people know what it is. You feel me?
So for the record, Firebugg had nothing to do with Nipsey's passing. You know what I'm saying? Their meeting was on accident, but it was very, very honorable. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just knowing your history, you know what I'm saying, you just getting out and all of this happening, you know what I'm saying? I know it kind of happened fast. This is all within really like 6 months, you know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? Can we expect some new music from you soon?
Yeah, you can expect greatness from me.
Right. Leadership.
That's all I thrive for. That's all I've been trained for. That's all I've been grown for.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anybody that knows, you got to be a student before you can ever become a teacher.
Correct.
And anybody that knows, like I said, it's an open book. Go through the background. You feel me? The files is open.
For sure.
You feel me? I'm going to lead you to the files. You feel me? Oh, you don't even need a warrant. Let's go get these.
Right. For sure.
Credentials, whatever, let's go get these. You know what I'm saying? So anybody will tell you, anybody that's great or anybody named that went down, like Nip, or those that we, you know what I'm saying, the folklores of our hoods, you feel me? They're going to tell you that he was a student.
For sure. Well, Firebugg, I appreciate you coming out. Trakksounds, I appreciate you coming out.
Appreciate
man,
it.
let's tell the world where they can follow y'all at, man. Make sure y'all mention y'all Instagrams. Firebugg, what's your Instagram?
Firebugg68. That's Firebugg 68.
Make sure y'all follow him. Trakksounds, what's your Instagram?
Trakksounds, TRAKKSOUNDS.
And you know my Instagram is BLACKCARDSTEVEO, Blackcard Steve-O. This is the In the Mix and Out the Way podcast. C-Rob, you got anything to say?
Nah.
You know you got to say your Instagram.
CROB_317, Indianapolis, Indiana.
He representing for that Midwest.
Hey, when did
the homie Lil Wack, Indiana, you feel me?
when did the Pacers play that?
The same time the Rockets are playing.
The Rockets play the Warriors on Sunday. That's all I
come
know.
on, man. Y'all gonna keep this basketball
Get the brooms
beef.
out.
Keep this basketball beef
What
off
about
of the
those
podcast,
Texans?
Like the Colts?
man.
What about, man, you know I'm a Colts fan. What about the Texans? Didn't they get put out by the Colts?
You a who fan?
I'm a Saints fan.
Oh my God,
Oh, yeah.
I knew it was something
Saints are
about
super
you.
trash.
When your birthday, you smoke weed, you feel me? You're a Saints fan. When your birthday? July. Oh, and on December 7th.
Saints are super trash, by the way.
For sure.
Who that? No. Who that? No.
This was
Who that like the Saints?
This was episode 3 of the In the Mix and Out the Way podcast with special guests Trakksounds and Firebugg.
I enjoyed this one. This was a good one. I like this.
This was a very
Appreciate y'all
good
having
one,
me.
man.
Shout out to the Rams, too.
Man, make sure y'all like.
I like them.
Make sure y'all like and
so
subscribe to this channel. Follow us on Instagram at
What's the In the Mix one?
stay.ITMOTW. Stay period ITMOTW. So make sure you
In the
follow
Mix, out
us.
the way.
And we appreciate y'all checking us out. It's gonna keep getting better and getting better. We're gonna keep getting guests and we're gonna keep giving game. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna keep learning. Make sure if you have any questions, DM us. DM me personally. Send a DM to the Instagram for the podcast, and we're gonna go from there. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
you can hit me up.
His C-Rob up, man. He is the producer of the show. You know what I'm talking about? So it's going down, man. We appreciate y'all checking us out. And I always remember that every shut eye ain't sleep and every goodbye ain't gone. We out. This is the In the Mix and Out the